got my Bath and Body Works candle going on over there. I got Arnold, my love and support machine over here, and I got some great books that I want to show you. I wanted to talk about the top 5 books that I read this year. My Goodreads goal for this year is 30, and I am currently like 3 books away from that, so I'm going to be reading a lot in this next week and a half to try and hit that. But today I'm going to be showing you the top 5 books that I have read this year, books that I have just really loved. Is there a chance that something I end up reading in the next couple of weeks could end up making this list? Yeah, but you know what? I'll just save it for next year because I kind of think of this year as already over. Number 5 on this list is Carry On by Rainbow Rowell. I owned this book for years before I finally decided to pick it up, and I had so much fun with it. I actually liked it a lot better than Fangirl. I had some problems with Fangirl. We won't get into it right now. And while I did have some problems with this one, just story-wise, I think in general it was really fun. I loved this whole, like, Simon Baz world, and their relationship was so adorable, and also this cover is just so cute. Although the other cover, like with the fan art on it, is so beautiful, and I'm so glad that they went with that one for Wayward Son, which I don't have yet, but hopefully I will be acquiring soon. I had tried to pick this up like a couple years ago, but I don't know, I just couldn't get myself into it, but when I picked it up this time, I just fell right into it. I thought it was a lot of fun. I tabbed it up because I annotated quite a bit. This was a really fun read, and I'm excited to get my hands on Wayward Son. Number 4 on the list is the book that I finished the most recently. I finished it like maybe last weekend, and that is We Contain Multitudes by Sarah Henstra. This is one of the nominees for the White Pine Award this year, which is like the whole Forest of Reading thing. This book is about 2 guys, one named Joe and the other one named Curl, who get assigned each other as like sort of pen pals in English class, and we get to see their relationship form through these letters that they send each other. I thought it was a really interesting format. I think I've seen like letters exchanging in books before, but I don't think I've read exclusively through the letters, which I thought was really cool. It took me so long to figure out when this book took place, because at first I thought it was just in modern day, you know, 2018, 2019, around there, but then I realized that they went to a Prince concert in this book, and I realized that Prince is not alive anymore, and so I thought, okay, so maybe it's like the 80s or the 90s, but then I realized that one of the guys, Curl, in here keeps talking about his brother having been in Afghanistan, and then I realized it's the early 2000s. From page like 4, they talk about Afghanistan, and I don't know why it took me until like a quarter of the way through the book for me to realize that it took place in the early 2000s. My idiocy aside, this book was really cute. I think this book was really great. I loved both the main characters. They were so cute. And I just, something about a lovely, like, sort of coming-of-age romance just makes me feel so happy. Even though I don't normally read this kind of book around this time of the year, I like to read Harry Potter during this time of the year, which I currently am doing. It was the book that I really needed at that time. Number 3 on this list is The Final Empire by Brandon Sanderson. And yes, I know this is the entire trilogy, but I just don't want to take it out of the case because it's so pretty. I read this way back in, I want to say, April-ish. So some of it is starting to filter out of my mind. I tried to read the next 2, but I just got really caught up in school and could not get through this one, so I gave up on it for now, but I will be heading back to it. I'd been hearing such great things about the Mistborn series for a long time, and I thought I'd just finally give it a go, and I ended up really loving it. This huge, like, high fantasy setting with a really intricate, interesting magic system. What is the character's name? The girl. I really don't remember her name, but I remember... What is the guy's name? The one who, I almost spoiled something there. What is that guy's name? Kelsier! That's what his name is. Okay, I remember the name Kelsier, and that's it. And Elend. I remember him. I don't remember what the girl's name was. I had so much fun. I thought Kelsier was such an interesting character. He had so many facets to him. Like, he was suave, but also just, you know, scared and wanting to do what was right, and just an insane person, which I really enjoyed. What I love the most about fantasy is magic systems, and this one has a really interesting one surrounded around consuming metals and then harnessing the powers of whatever metals you've consumed. Really, really cool stuff. I want to get back to it sometime in the new decade. Number 2 on this list is Macbeth by William Shakespeare, and I know this is not Macbeth, it is Othello, but I don't have Macbeth, and this is the one that we read this year, so I just wanted to hold something up. I had so much fun with Macbeth, reading it as a class together back in, like, I want to say it was around December, January, that time that we read it, so I'm still counting it in this year, because I wrote the exam on it in this year. So I'm counting it. Macbeth was wildly better than Romeo and Juliet. Can we just talk about the fact that Romeo and Juliet takes place over a week? As in, they meet, fall in love, and kill themselves in a week. Yeah, no thank you. Macbeth, on the other hand, was a lot more fun because it was very murdery, and we get to see how a relatively good man falls. Just lots of really great themes that English teachers love to talk about. I think it is the superior Shakespeare play, that of the ones I've read so far, which is really only 3. I did really enjoy Othello as well, but if I had to choose between Othello and Macbeth, I would have to give it to Macbeth. Macbeth was so much fun. I'm excited to read more of Shakespeare's stuff, even if it takes me forever to get through them, because there's always like an adjustment period. When I dive back into Shakespeare, I have to give my brain a moment to like switch and be like, okay, we're gonna talk real fancy like. Macbeth, really great. Othello also really good, just not enough to make this list. And number 1 on this list, my favorite book of the year, is one that I don't have anymore, which I'm sad about, but it still made the list, and that is The Other Side of the Bridge by Mary Lawson. I read The Other Side of the Bridge for, you guessed it, English class. This year was different in that we get to choose a novel that we read out of a selection that the English teachers gave us, and I chose The Other Side of the Bridge along with some of my friends, and it ended up being such a good book. The book is about 2 brothers, Arthur and Jake Dunn, who have never really gotten along, sort of have this sibling rivalry, and it's basically them growing up and all the stuff that happens in their lives mixed in with this future plot and this guy named Ian who seems really irrelevant, but I promise you he's not, and he sort of intertwines in their lives, and we get to learn about a lot of really spicy tea. A lot of people, when they read books for English, they say that it ruins the book for them because they have to actually like analyze and think and come up with something semi-intellectual to say about it, and I get that. I can see where it might start to be a drag, but for me, it's the complete opposite. I feel like because I studied it in English class and because I put so much of my heart and soul into this book and analyzed it to its bare bones, I feel like I have such a great understanding and appreciation for it now. I love the story so much. I have an uncontrollable love for any sort of family dynamic in books, whether that be found family, sibling rivalry, estranged family who somehow come back together. I love it so much, and I loved The Other Side of the Bridge, and I recommend it. Those were my top 5 books of this year. Hopefully, as the next year rolls in, I will be able to read some more really awesome books. But yeah, that's it for me. To the one person watching this, thank you so much. I hope you enjoyed, and I will see you in my next video, which will be in the new year. So happy holidays and happy new year, and I will see you in the next video. Bye!